So now you know what we need to do next. What we need to do next? Calculate the updated GPA, right? Okay, how could we do that? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a new field here. Okay, I will hold the updated GPA with the updated GPA. Okay, how could you calculate that? And we are going to essentially have a new method that called calc GPA. The first thing that you need to do is you need to first figure out the average grade, right? Okay, you need to calculate the grade, okay? And then what we are going to do is we need to calculate the average grade, right? And in fact, this information would be needed later also. Okay? So how could we calculate the average grade? All you have to do is go through the so we are going to have a sum is equal to 0 at the beginning. We see for int I is equal to 0, I is smaller than grades dot length. In fact, that's the array. Array has a length, and then I plus plus, and what we have is the sum is equal to sum plus grades at I, and the sum, I'm sorry, it would be, we see return sum divided by what? By 5. Let's do grades dot length, okay? 5, it would be correct for this problem, okay? But let's just do that, okay? And one problem potentially would be the grades does not exist, because potentially you have some student does not have a grade. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to say if the grades is equal to now, we simply return a 0, something like that. Okay, so that we make sure that there is nothing wrong happening here. Okay. So we are done with calculating the average grade, and based on the average grade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, what's the letter grade? Okay, we say, what's the letter grade? We say that would give us, I'm sorry. And for this letter grade, there would be a average. Based on the average, we are going to get the letter grade. So essentially, this would be very, very easy. We say if average is greater or equal than 90, what you are going to do? Return A. If average is greater or equal to 80, you don't need to, because I already have the return in the first place, okay? Return a B. And 70. So C. 60 is a D. Otherwise, is an F. Okay, If you never get matched with the previous case, it would be an F in this case. So that's how we are going to do to get the letter grade, okay? And you will compute the average, okay? And we get the letter grade. And after that, we will be able to compute the GPA, okay? How could we compute the GPA? So let's do this. Whenever we compute the GPA, okay, suppose we do this, step by step, and let's try to store this information here. Okay, let's store this. We have average. Let's store this average. Okay, let's store this average. And whenever you have this, and whenever you calculate the GPA, and we say return this average, my first assignment, I think I'm going to do. So after each average grade, you would already know what's the average here. So let me put a little bit comments. Okay, we see. This assumes that the average had already been computed. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is, suppose I have the average, I have the old GPA, I have new GPA. How could I do it? Use the formula, right? So first we compute the accumulate is equal to the GPA times credit hours plus what? 3 times what? The new point average. So what I'm going to do, I say a point. Okay? Now, I need to figure out the point. Okay, I need to figure out the point. So, here, I have the letter grade. I have another one that I would compute the point. It's very easy. Instead of returning a string, I return an integer. Or double, if you want to use double, that's fine. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Is that clear? Now, I see the point of the average. I would get the accumulate. Then I'm going to return accumulate divided by credit hours plus 3. So you have 3 extra credit hours after the semester. So you would be able to compute the GPA. Is this clear to everybody? Okay. And now save this one. Now let's go to the main. Let's move to the main. And we will do the input. And after we are done with the input, we try to figure out how could we handle the output part, okay? We see record main. I like to have the main method. I have the main method. What you need to do is you need to read the 2 files in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a scanner. And first I call it a student record input. Student input. Okay, is equal to a new scanner, new file. And what's the name of the file? student records or records dot txt. Okay, and let me organize the import. Okay, and we throw the and after we are done with this, what we need to do is we need to read the student record in, right? So how could you do that? You are going to say while student input dot has next. Okay, and what I'm going to do is first I'm going to read the ID in, right? The first one is the ID. It would be ID is equal to student input dot next int, and I have the name is equal to student input dot next, and I have credit hours is equal to student input dot next double, and I'm going to have the GPA is equal to student input dot next double. I'm done with input of all these four. Okay, and what you can do with this? You need to add to the student record manager, right? So before we do that, we need to create a student record manager. Student record manager. And after you create the record manager, you can see rec manager dot add record with all this information in. And typo. Okay. And we are done for the input of these student records. Okay? That's pretty easy to handle, right? And the next thing that we need to do is we need to read the grade information in. And we would do something very, very similarly. Don't do copy paste. The reason I do copy paste is when I do the lecture here, I cannot type really fast. Okay. Grade input. What's the file name here? Course grades, right? Grade. So while you have the next, what you are going to do is you are going to read in the ID, right? And then what you are going to do is the grades, right? So it will be grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, right? Similarly, you will read this 5 times. That will be the easiest part. 2, 3, 4, 5. After this, what you are going to do is you are going to see record manager dot add grades with these 5 grades. Okay. Now let's take a break and see what we are going to do for the output.